Hello televiewers, good evening and welcome to this other edition of Prime Hour on My Media Prime. As tradition demands, today we are going to be looking at a relationship and marriage, and we are going to be looking at what is known as bride price and dowry. Are they the same thing? We also are going to be looking at how much people should pay as bride price across Cameroon, Africa and the world as a whole. But we also are going to be looking at those deadly secrets that could ruin a relationship and a marriage. Yes, we discussed this with our panelists who already are seated in the house. We are welcoming Apostle Ambe Valentine Gua. He is a consultant here with us at My Medium Prime. We're glad to have you once again, Apostle.
Thank you, Mr. Leo. Good evening, my co-panelists, and good evening, viewers of Prime Hour. It's a privilege to be here. I've been away for a while. I had some other engagement, but I'm here back again to make sure we educate the people on very pertinent issues, especially on marriage and relationships.
He was away to pray for My Media Prime, to pray for Cameroon and the world. We're glad you took off the time for the prayers. We are also in the company of Apostle Alfred, a singer. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Leo. We thank God for another wonderful day. I want to greet my wife that is always online following us, and also one of my mentors in Britain who is constantly behind us. Right now he's glued to his television. And I greet my fellow panelists.
Okay.
Right here.
Mama Malaika, greetings. Also accept greetings from my humble self, where unfortunately I could not be part of the ceremony on Sunday, but I hope to catch up. I'm going to be at the service next.
Yes, the offering basket is still open. You can always
okay. I'll do that. We are also in the company of Apostle Lefor, Divine, all the way from Boya, Southwest Regional Capital. Good evening, welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Leo, and thank you for welcoming me. And I want to greet and salute everyone out there, and thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning into My Media Prime. It's going to be another beautiful edition, as usual, your favorite program, and we are going to bring the wisdom, the knowledge, the understanding that is required as per this topic.
Okay. We also are in the company of Prophet Elisa Feta Lamnia Befong. He's taking part on this program for the very first time. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Leo. Thank you very much. I am really delighted to be part of this forum. People with wonderful words of wisdom, and I wish to submit my own quota of the things pertaining to your topic as you just introduced.
Okay. We are going straight away to discussing what was planned for today's edition. We are trying to understand the difference between bride price and dowry. Are they the same thing? We'll start with you, Apostle Ambe Valentine Gua.
Yeah, Mr. Leo, this is a very important topic, because a lot of people juxtapose these two words, dowry and bride price. Dowry and bride price are not the same things. Bride price, I will begin with, is the money or property that someone gives as a symbol of taking over a woman from her family. That is the money that stands as a bargain, as an exchange rate between two families for a woman to be handed over to a man. Either the man does this directly or the man's family does this. Dowry, on the other part, is the property given to a woman when she is going in for marriage. For instance, the servant of Abraham went to get married to Rebecca. When he went there, he presented the dowry, which the bride price, which was what Abraham gave him to give. When the girl was to leave to come back to Isaac's house, the family prepared the dowry properties and gave to the woman to take into the husband's house. So this is an inheritance that a woman's family, either money or property, in some communities where it is most of cattle rearing, they give cattle along. Sometimes in some communities where it is gold, they send gold along with the woman. She takes to the husband's house. That is a dowry. It is different from the bride price. In the bride price, it is a man or his family that gives to the woman's family, while in dowry, it is a woman's family giving her property to take into a man's house. In most communities where women are not considered to work, this one becomes an inheritance for them to stand on in their husband's houses. So most of the communities we have today, they focus more on the bride price, and the dowry stuff is little spoken about, and they have just mixed up the whole stuff that dowry is bride price and bride price is dowry. I'm sure I've been able to establish the difference between these two perfectly.
Yes, but dowry, bride price, I read somewhere that dowry is very common in Asia, especially in India, where it is the woman who has to do the payment in exchange of the husband. Like in Africa, the husband does the bride price, but over there in India, it is the woman who does it, and that is the dowry.
Yes, we have few families who give dowry.
Okay.
Especially when their daughters are going out. The families give no attention to that. Instead, they want to drain them and remove every little thing they have from their pockets. And they go into the homes and they begin to find themselves with big problems. Dowry is given mostly in the Asian countries and maybe some other Western countries, but when it comes to Africa, we have always been taking bride prices. And it has always been given to the family. The girl is left out, and so many other things. But not forgetting some tribes who are also considering this aspect of dowry, that before a woman goes to the house of the husband, they buy dresses, a lot of boxes of dresses and things. One of my daughters just got married recently. I think I gave her enough dowry so that she should start her life with the husband's house. You know, you made sure that she had the equipment that she should start her job and do it effectively, so that the husband does not strain to an extent. And I'm still very standby to see that I could help to even establish a business place if after some time the husband could not use those things and establish it. I am looking at that. So I think that I have experienced the aspect of giving a dowry to my daughter who is going for marriage. But that is why I am looking at what the Africans practiced before now. The Africans practiced before now. I think it has always been dowry.
Okay.
It has always been bride price. Yes, it has always been bride price from the old. You know, they had different ways of demonstrating this aspect of this bride price. Sometimes it had to do with wrestling. You have to go for a wrestling bout, a competition, and do, if you can win the other person, the person that wins the other person takes the wife away. And you sometimes, like some tribes, you have to steal a pig. You have to go to the fence of some other person and steal a pig and carry it on your soldier to show that you're a very strong man. I think it has always been bride price. You must pay the price. You must pay the price to prove to us that you're strong enough to handle our daughter, to take care of that. That's what has been happening in Africa.
Yes, Apostle Lefor Divine, you are a marriage counselor, and you talk not only to the bride and the groom, but you also talk with the parents. He's raising something very important, and Apostle also did, that I never really, we have not really focused on that. That is a lady who is getting to somebody's house should also be taken care of by the family as a way of supporting the establishment of that family.
Yes. The definition by Apostle is very good. I want to really, for those who are watching, maybe they might just be joining in, let's make it very clear. Bride price and dowry, they are not the same. As it has been said, bride price, the groom or the groom's family is what they use to honor, respect, or place value on the bride, which is demanded by the bride's family in receiving the bride. Why dowry, on the other hand, is like wealth transfer. It's like a transfer of wealth from the wife's family for the wife as she goes into marriage. Some is even given to the husband as they get some give it directly or indirect. Some give it directly to the husband, or give the wife to come with into the husband's house. So it is a very pertinent thing, because this is very common. Dowry is very common in Asia, and I think even the Muslims practice it in a sense, where the woman goes. It's also a way, because I think we need to use this to also, it gives value to the woman, because a lot of times, the other day I've received 2 messages. One time, not long after this program, somebody wrote me and said, I don't overspend for my woman I hate. Man of God, tell me, it correct again for even receive a parents. the one can worry me again, even for chop. That means it gets to the point that the man is asking whether he should even allow the parents visit. When you see somebody make that kind of statement, you can imagine maybe the pain or the hurt. It looks like he was robbed of something. So I think this is a pertinent issue. And first, let's not confuse the word dowry and bride price. We have made that very clear. But we should also look into it. It's a sense of value, because I think even if I have only a daughter and she's going somewhere, it should be my pleasure. In fact, many people used to marry women back then because of the dowry that I'm thinking in the culture. Yes, the dowry that comes, it used to also be a stabilizer of a marriage. The truth there is, dowry, just like bride price, can be a stabilizer, for a stabilizer of marriage, because because there's worth, and it also helps the man not to see the woman like a liability. Sometimes men devalue women because it looks like they are doing everything. I think it brings it, and it is easy to also review the responsibility of the man in handling certain things. I think it's something we should really definitely look into.
Okay, the prophets, why, according to you, African men, Cameroonian families have neglected that aspect of also making sure that their children, I'm talking about the girls, why are they not often taken care of before they enter marriage? Because I think with the Fulanis here, the Hausas, when you are going to marriage, they make sure that you are well prepared before. Yes. Why have we not seen this with? I don't know whether the Christians or some.
The issue is that most Christians, they do that, but they do it in some unconscious kind of way. Let's take, for example, you see a young man comes to ask the hand in marriage to a lady, and the lady presents this young man to the family. And let's assume this young man came to the house with maybe the legs. He didn't bring up some car, or maybe he took a bike before coming to that particular environment. Now, the father of this lady, or the brother or the sister, will be looking at this young man with one kind of eye. It's like he's coming to steal, like a marriage thief. He's coming to, like, steal something from this family. Because they know that as their daughter will be going in for marriage, they have to do something. The uncle have to bring out maybe some gift for this lady, the auntie, or they do it. So looking at your question, the African family, they do it, but somehow, as the topic is talking about, dowry and bride price, most people, they don't know that the dowry is different. You hear somebody say something like, I went to pay the dowry of my wife. Or you hear a lady say something like, he has gone and paid my dowry. They don't know actually that they are supposed to use the word bride price in that place, for dowry. So they do it.
Okay, I want also to dive straight to the how much should be paid as a bride price. Should there be something fixed as a bride price for our wives?
Well, I'm very sure when it comes to the issue of bride price, it has to do with cultures. Every culture differs from one another, and we cannot impose on the people, but there are some excesses that we need to curb as far as bride price is concerned, because this bride price has a very pivotal role to play. One, it symbolizes that value is placed on the woman, and to a greater extent, it can also be as an exchange rate of selling the woman. Two things. You give the bride price to symbolize that the woman has value, and if it's not properly managed, it could be a kind of amount of money paid to buy a woman, and humans are not supposed to be sold. That's the reason why after some marriages, some men don't want to see their in-laws because of the kind of exorbitant sum of money and properties that were demanded as far as the bride price was concerned. And you see a father-in-law may walk into the son-in-law's house, and the son would tell them that the money I paid for the daughter's bride price is enough to last people for eternity. So I think that when it comes to the amount of money to be paid as bride price, it varies with different cultures. For instance, like the Port of Ambe in Imo State in Nigeria, they have a very exorbitant bride price that when girls get married from there, it becomes very difficult. Number two, the kind of bride price also scare men from coming to approach the girls in such communities, and people can come, they can only impregnate women, but to dowry the women is very difficult. The same goes to Littoral region in Douala. The Douala people are very, very exorbitant with their bride price. That's why if you come to Douala here, you only hear Douala girl tell you, pay the monafang. You hardly hear that my husband. Pay the monafang, because it promotes a high rate of adultery and fornication. When a man looks at the bride price is too exorbitant, it becomes very difficult for him to even undergo the process of marrying a woman. So it's like marriage is for the rich. The marriage should not be designed for a particular class of people, because everybody was called upon on earth to merge with a partner to build a better family, to avoid the excesses of moral decadence in the society. Now, the other aspect is that when people get matured, like the Maasai region in Kenya, they have a custom and tradition that to prove your manhood, you have to run on top of at least 100 cows without falling on the ground. Now, that process alone is what qualifies you for marriage. You run on top of 100 bulls without falling on the ground. There is also the Jewish culture they call the Bar Mitzvah. Bar Mitzvah is when you are 12 years of age. They initiate you into manhood. There they begin to show you the secrets of the Jewish society. That's Judaism and other Zionist practices. That is where we have a problem, because a lot of people have gone into marriage when they have not been initiated into manhood. And because of this, some things that they are supposed to handle seemingly easy, it becomes very difficult. For instance, I go to the Northwest, it's the cheapest place you can get a woman. Why? Because we are not making that life more complicated. You can easily get a bunch of planty, a jug of oil, you will get a woman. But not in other areas where a woman is being sold. So we should be able to tell those cultures and communities and the customs that exorbitantly put bride price at a level where it's difficult for girls to be married, to start to see how they can give their daughter the opportunity to settle perfectly in homes of men.
Okay. I want you to also answer the question whether a particular price tag should be placed on a girl as a bride price, or it should be voluntary. Should it be negotiable?
I think some cultures have it that way. That they already have what should be brought. Remember that this bride price does not only comprise of money or financial input. It also has to do with wealth or material things. So they already tell you that you have 2 goats, 3 goats. That's why you hear some families, like in the Bangi people, they ask goats. You know, with the Bakurians, they ask pigs. You see, but I hear Apostle Ambe talk of the Northwest having a very cheap bride price. But I want to tell you that come and try this down there in the Southwest, where you see the Bakuri man will ask you of 100,000 francs. They'll even take 50,000 francs from you. It won't be a problem. So I'm just trying to tell all of you who are looking for a wife to marry very cheap, go to Southwest. You get some beautiful women there, very cheap and very yes. So to them, it's very cheap. It's very cheap. It's very cheap. I don't think there's any young man that will not be able to have 100,000 francs or even 50,000 francs, and they are ready to take part of the money. They don't want to take everything. So there is no fixed price per se, but when it comes to wealth and property, they always have something like 1 pig or 2 pigs or 2 goats or this. So for property, they put it fixed. But
my question is, yes, should we have a price tag to a woman?
Well, it's culturally accepted, so we can put it on, but it's not lawfully. It's not lawfully. It's not lawful, but it's culturally accepted, and the government also approves it because of what it is the way to promote culture. But on another point, the government also hits hard on those people who put heavy bride prices. So it makes a lot of people scared to get married. That's why in some points the government may decide to do what they call a group marriage, where they just get those who want to marry, just come, we'll sign you a marriage certificate. You don't need to follow whether the government will not ask you whether you went and paid bride price or what. It means that it is not lawful, meaning that you should not do it as if you're trying to punish a man who wants to marry. You put a fixed amount of money.
Are there people who are using their daughters to exploit?
Exactly like Apostle Ambe just called some tribes, which I was just avoiding to call some of those tribes. I know of somebody, they do knock door 800,000 francs, just knock door. 800,000 francs, and then they tell you that, okay, if you don't have the money to pay, take the woman and go and stay with, then when you have the bride price, you come and pay. And to me, that's bondage. You are setting that man in a trap. Because when he will come now, you ask him 1.5 million, and he's already having the wife in the house with children. How will he cope with that? So it becomes very, very difficult for young people to exist, to survive in this particular society where there's a lot of immorality and some kind of things. You know, there are a lot of people, there are some girls that would have been in their husbands' houses now, but because of those fixed wealth that they're asking from people, people are running away. So I think that there should be no fix. It should be bargained. It should be something that people should bargain. People should talk about it. Because I have gone to pay bride price for many youths. Especially as a pastor, I have assisted a lot of people. Like, for example, when I went to Malfi, I was about to pay the dowry for someone, and they asked me that, what did you come with us? And I put 20,000 francs down first. I said,
bride price, not
yes.
dowry.
Bride price, yes. Bride price. And I put 20,000 francs. They said, no, you see, try hard again, try hard. And then we put 50,000 francs. And then at the end of the day, we rounded up to 250,000 francs. After a strong bargain, but they were hoping that you give 600,000 francs, so it should be bargains. People should not be afraid to go for this kind of thing, and no tribe should put it fixed. I just plead that tribes should not put it fixed, but some tribes have taken upon them. They say 1 jug of oil, 6 jugs of palm wine, 3 goats, 7 pigs, and all those things. That's just to tell us that you don't know what you have as a child. But on the other hand, most parents do that because of the attitude of men. When they take your daughter and go away to their homes, you will never see them again come back. And how many people are there that decided, okay, they say bring 100,000 francs. You say, okay, I will drop 50 now, and after I will come and bring 50,000. How many have gone back to pay the 50,000 francs? So many people have not been able to go back to respond to what they said they were going to pay. And that's why you see some of them have some I don't want to put it, in-locks or some things, because maybe the family is not happy with them and so on. So you that took away your wife from your family, and you are not caring about your family anymore, you are the one that is making the families to say what? Make we chop we own now, because
yeah,
we want to take it go.
If we go by what you are saying, in the African setting, they say bride price is continuous now. If you fail to, anytime there's a problem, you continue paying the bride price.
Yes. I think there's a balance we're trying to bring here. The first thing we're trying to say is bride price is a symbol of honor, because honor is done with substance. Honor the Lord with your substance. Honor is done with substance. True. But then some people act like they are selling their children, and you can't sell a person. You know, when you do it at that level, a lot of times these men, I'm talking about young men who are still, because the truth is, rarely do finished men, how can I put it, men who have arrived, come to take I think even you, Mr. Leo, the way you are now is different from the way you were when you went to
I could barely fit.
You see? So imagine at that point in time, there are things now that even your, let me say, your wife's parents call, or sometimes you even just sense. Sometimes you handle it without even them asking, or without stress. But now they needed to be able to see this future. You understand? In what you are trying to say, sometimes when we insist only in the now, we also starve the future. Like we said, there's a continuous. When they say continuous, it's because we also believe that two families have come together. It is so difficult. It's because it's not like when I marry, I will live only with my wife forever and ever. A lot of times, even when my in-law visits, I make sure, when in-law visit, you make sure that at least sometimes you have to, he's going back with fuel. Just to keep the blessing going. I love giving to my in-law, you know, just the blessings. You know, there's some things that when people are speaking good of you, you are continue to enjoy. Don't do something that your children, or they say, okay, as we come off a day, man no yeah, you tell me anything about your master your pie again, because things happen. So let's make it in such a way that, like you were saying, if it was depending only on what you were able to do, then they tell you bring 1 million. Wouldn't you see that as wickedness? You just go back and say, I want to take one pikin. It is not. I believe I value my child in such a way that I also respect that she knows. I should be able to trust that my child has made a good choice and they are building a future together. We make the aspects of the tradition. Custom is very good because custom is reflective of values, a value system. So bride price is very good, but it should not be manipulative. And we should also think that tomorrow, like you said, like you talk about the continuous, it's not that we're planning to, but we realize that there's a lot of things, there's still a lot of interaction that will go on in the future. So let's not stop something just temporary and forget that there is a future.
Yes, he raised an issue that some parents would want to say that we must chop all now, because when they go Google. Yeah, but should parents actually use that instance in the life of their girl child to want to get as much as they can from the would-be husband?
Well, Mr. Leo, I think that these parents do this because they want you, the groom or the husband to be, to see that value in the woman which you are coming to take from them. Now, they are supposed to use some wisdom is needed here. They are supposed to, like, maybe tell this young man, okay, we are not going to ask you for so much money, but make sure this lady has a junior sister or a junior brother. You are going to maybe sponsor him or her in school, because the human mind, when you come to a family and they start telling you you are going to pay 5 million francs for bride price, it scares the young man away. He starts thinking of how he can get 5 million francs cash at that particular time. But you can tell him, oh, this lady has a junior sister, please, you make sure he or she goes to school. You know, the young man, he can try to adapt to that message, and then he will like, okay, in the future I'm going to make some money, I can do this. He'll easily agree. What the wonderful men of God have been saying is true. This bride price issue is scaring a lot of people away, and it has made a lot of young men and women not to be married, because certain traditions or tribes, they have this tax, this family, this culture, they are asking for 10 million. When the guy asks the lady, you come from which tribe? I'm Bayangi or this. Oh, that he thinks in the mind, these people, they ask for 10 million. Sorry, sister, we are just dating, you know. So I believe they need wisdom to communicate this this value they want to put in their daughters, because whether you like it or not, I don't think if you sponsor your daughter from crèche, nursery school, so much money, all these expensive schools, and then one guy just come and say, I want to marry your daughter, and you say, okay, give me 100,000. Her school fees for crèche alone was a lot of money. So most of these people, they are trying to use, you know, common knowledge, you know, to give this woman away. But they should apply wisdom. They can get this value in another way, in another dimension.
Yeah, but we are talking about value for the woman. Is the woman not also supposed to, by her way, work for value to be placed on her by the husband? That is, the way you value yourself attracts that capacity in the man to, even if they were to say that you provide 5 tins of red oil, you say, no, because of the value that I see in this lady, I am doing it not because I'm asked to, but because of the value. Isn't it also a challenge for young women out there to work so much as to attach lots of value on? Because if you are getting married to a woman that you have little value for, you would be contemplating that, but do I really need to do as much as them?
Yes, you just touched a very sensitive subject. I have been teaching for many years. I've told our sisters in churches, stop praying and fasting for a man, build capacity. A man of your class will fit with you. For instance, the richest African black woman now is Fuluronsha Lakija. If I marry such a man, we will never divorce. We'll never. Reasons for divorce is that sometimes somebody doesn't have value, because people don't throw what is valuable. A man cannot throw away a golden ring. A man cannot throw away a diamond. It is the value. The diamond doesn't speak. The gold does not speak. If a woman upgrades herself to a standard where she is that valuable in the life of a man, the subject of divorce will disappear. The issue that is killing a lot of people is that they are looking and fasting to pray for men instead of building capacity that can attract men. You have to grow out of looking for men to start looking for you. The prayer conception or the prayer mindset is what goes after. The capacity mindset what attracts, because what has capacity, what has value automatically attracts. You don't go and begin to, you don't see flies rushing after an environment that does not have something that attracts them. It's the same thing when you throw all here, you don't invite ants. They automatically creep there because that is what they are looking for. So women should start building capacity rather than looking for men. No matter how you look for men, if you don't have value, there are some communities that the bride price of an educated woman is different from that of an illiterate. It's to tell that even communities go to the extent of placing value or on education. A woman's capacity, a woman's essence, how contributive she is to you. That's the reason why when some women are not educated, you discover in some communities that their price are different from those who have not gone to school, those who have gone to school. So even the community knows that when a woman's value has increased, her money also increases. When you are paying for something that you know will benefit you tomorrow, you don't get any problem. That's the reason why expensive value materials do not bother or disturb their buyers. So we tell our sisters this day that if at all the bride price of your community is huge, you have to build yourself to the extent that can match with that bride price. If someone has to come to marry you, you cannot be something very low down there and your community has already punished you with a bride price that is exorbitant. Who will buy what does not have value? People go to buy pieces of land because they know how valuable the land is. So over time, it only increases. Yes. So we are telling sisters these days, sister, I'm talking to you watching this program right now. Stop crying that your community has increased the bride price for girls in that community. Build yourself to a capacity. If you are a Gozi Okonjo Iweala, if you are a Fuluronsho Alakija, if you are Whitney Oprah Winfrey, if you are that woman of that standard, that class, that value, I tell you, nobody will find it too expensive to pay for your bride price. So we are telling women that if the bride price of the community is too expensive, secondly, in a community where the bride price is not too huge, not too heavy, it does not still reduce, because if you enter into a man's house, no matter how cheap they paid on your head, if you have no value, you will still face challenges tomorrow. The high rate of divorce in our society today is because women enter into marriages that have nothing to contribute. Can I say something? Marriage is not an employment. It's not a job opportunity. Marriage, as a matter of fact, apart from sex, if you have nothing to offer to a marriage or in a marriage, you're a prostitute. Okay,
we are talking about bride price. Bride price comes before that is what actually cements the marriage, yes. To show that the man is committed. But we are talking about upgrading a value. But before taking a substance, the value that the person places on herself, the way she carries herself, the way she carries herself in the community also determines what value the man places. Because if you were to go into a community and they tell you that this lady has been used by 1, 2, 3, 4 persons, and another person that they tell you this girl, the way she carries herself, nobody, yes, we are talking about morality here. Yeah. It also determines what value a man who is coming for you places on the wife.
Yeah, actually, when you talk about adding value to yourself, we are not trying to say that you should be very proud or carry yourself empty pride. We're not talking about empty pride. We're talking about do well not to get pregnant before marriage, or do well to honor, respect people, talk nicely to people, and then when this man comes to your life, treat him like a king. But let me tell you, let me advise you, never give the rights of a husband to a man you're not yet married to. For example, start sleeping with a man you're not yet married to. You are giving him the privileges of a husband to someone who is not yet married to you. He will never value you. We always look at this from this point. If you take yourself and you keep yourself clean, you speak good English, you treat everybody nicely, the low people, the high people, you treat everybody with a lot of respect, you donate to your society in one way or the other, your society will speak for you. When their son abroad comes and is looking for a wife, they will run for you. And the guy is ready to pay because he knows that there is that value you've built for yourself. Let me tell you, like in Sudan, the Dinka tribe, yes, Mandinka, they pay close to 100 to 500 cows for a wife. But they still give a lot of honor to those women because of the way they are groomed from childhood. These women, after they get married, they stay for about 4 years without cooking or sweeping. Nothing. Because of the honor they want to give. That's the part of their own welcome they are giving the wife. But if they don't want to welcome you, they won't come for you because they think the cost is too high. 100 or right up to 500 cows. It's very challenging. Then I will get married to you. You don't cook for me for 4 years. What will happen is that the sister-in-laws or the sisters of the lady that will be cooking or taking care of the house and everything for 4 years. That's a wonderful marriage. People will like that kind of marriage, and it will be a wonderful thing. So I think our Africans, especially our Cameroonian young ladies and women, should take this serious. Many of them try to start building good character only when they are about 35 or 40. Because that's the time they think that value is built. Value is built from childhood. When you are relating with your classmates, you're relating in society. I've seen people who have gone abroad and they still look for their classmate. They come back, say they are looking for a particular girl that was in their class. After so many years, because of what? The quality. I was talking with one mama one day. The boy is around that kind of 50-something years to 60 years old. A guy that they were in relationship in school, in secondary school, left France and came to Cameroon and was looking for that woman for so long a time, about 3 to 4 years. And he could not see, he could not see that lady. So he scouted and looked for her everywhere until one day he got information where the lady was and came to the lady, left Yaoundé, came to the lady and told her, I got married, but my wife, I could not leave because I was only thinking about you for many years. So I want to say that your value you had, even when you are in your classroom, when you are in your community, your society, will make people to look for you even after 15, 20 years. And when you want to talk about a bride price, they will be able to pay. They will be able to do anything they want to do for you. And some people don't only want to give a dowry or a bride price, they want to do a good occasion for you, to show that they really appreciate. Some people spend 2-3 millions only to say that they're commemorating the love they have for a woman. If you are not that kind of a good woman, who is going to go to that extent or that length to do what? To sacrifice for you. So we are calling on every young lady. The value you attach to yourself today will give you a good future tomorrow, and it will make that man or that boy to honor your family, that even after they get married to you, they will still honor you. We are still saying that no, when somebody pays a high bride price, he will and torments the girl in the house. Who is going to torment a beautiful girl or that is having a nice character at home? Who is going to torment a girl that knows how to carry herself and treat that boy like an angel? Nobody is going to torment. He will just forget about the dowry he even paid, and he will not even think about it even for 1 second. Instead, he will see himself blessed because he has you. That is the kind of thing. So we are calling on every young girl, wherever you are, never take it light on building your worth. Build your charisma. Build the way you talk. Build the way you address people in your community. By that, you will attract people that will come for dowry. They'll be standing on the line, and you will have what they call suitors. Okay. Not just a suitor. Okay.
Character and education add value to a woman, while education without good character reduces the value. And bride price Samuel is writing from Kumba Town. I think, good evening, I think education is a fundamental right of a girl child and the responsibility of the parents and not the husband. The husband should not be tasked to refund what was spent on her education. Godlove is writing from Bamenda Kumbe. From Bamenda says, good evening once more, Mr. Liu. Though out of topic, I wish to plead that you guys should kindly carry out a research on why making an ID card in Cameroon is extremely difficult. and complicated. I'm strongly convinced that your ideas can help the government out of frustration. Okay. Good evening, nice program. I always follow the program. This is Smith Malene from Moliko. I have a question for the panelists. What is the place of the white wedding in our African society? I'm sure we discussed that, but we are going to revisit it. Muslims have the best way. It is the girl that takes her dowry money and eats, so that when things go wrong, you bear it alone. Pastor Happy is writing from Yaoundé. Okay, from Yaoundé. From Yaoundé, I think. Okay. Now, when some societies place very high rates, or yes, high amounts and items as bride price, are we saying that poor people in such communities should not get married? Because even in these villages where people ask a lot of things, bring 10 pigs and that, we find many persons from that same communities who are married.
Yes.
Even as poor persons.
Yes, I would really like to say that anything that is a culture evolved. And the truth is, even these same tribes we are saying that they have high bride price, people still marry.
Yes.
We are just saying that, no, let's be honest,
Yes,
people marry. Many people marry. Yes, but now the thing, but the challenge is, we are saying that there is an average person who might have the character, who might have the love, the time, and the wish to get married, but the person in that she is in a relationship with is not able to meet up at that point in time, and it becomes a challenge, because not only rich people should marry, and it's something that we should really look into, because that's why we are trying to curb excesses. I think what we're trying to look here is the excesses. We have all agreed that placing value on a woman is a good thing, and I really want to say this because when most of the times a lot of people always assume that if I raise, like we have talked about the character and the education and all of that, sometimes this bride prices were evolving when people did not even have education. It's an amazing thing. There was not even education. There's something somebody raised here which is very interesting. I don't also think that bride price is you trying to reform or trying to make a young man reform what you spend on a girl, except you don't know what you're doing, because there is, I don't think so you can spend 25 years on somebody and somebody takes one day and pay back that money. It's really, except that you did not do anything. It's impossible, because sometimes people act like he mentioned here, and it could get into somebody. It'll be like you went to PNEU in nursery school. You went to
Baptist,
to Sacred Heart college.
No, the ladies go to Lords.
Okay, Lords. Okay, yes, I'll let you of Lords. Thank you. You went to Lords. You came to Catholic University. You know, those Polytech or those then the master calculated. No, I spend millions. Yeah. Now that is, I think you were doing that because of the love for your child. I don't want us to raise our children like cows.
That should also be considered as part of dowry. Now you are preparing your
yes,
child for
yes. I think it should be considered like dowry. Yes. Prepare your child to bring value to the person. Adding value. Yeah. Like we said, because if we only see it like you are raising a cow to sell. You know, like how, yes, like you are, you know, when, you know, a Muslim, when an Hausa is building his cow, he's calculating as one size, as one go this, 1 guinea feet, or like pigs. No, the size of this pig is 75,000. No, I think I invest in my daughter because I want her to have the best life. One, it's a gift to her, and it will be a gift also to her husband. Communicate, because it's not only about the money you are spending, it's about even the values you communicated, the value of honor, the value of respect, the good character. And I want to really say this here: prayer does not attract good husband. I always summarize prayer into two things. Prayer enables you to know what to do, that's revelation, and also empowers you to do what you know, because sometimes we know what to do but we are not empowered to do it. Now, prayer should not be a substitute for capacity building. Prayer prayer should enable you build that capacity. That's acting on what you know. So you build yourself to the level where, that's why you see we're always insisting here, a woman should know her purpose, understand what she's doing. Therefore, only then can you now attach yourself to a man, and two will be better than one. So that is why we are addressing these societies, these communities, and we are saying that they should not make it such a way that only rich people now should marry, because it always becomes a problem. Because at the end of the day, rich, proud, arrogant people, they will park fleet of cars, but they will pick your daughter, and 3 months later your daughter is only crying. I've seen parents insist, go back for that house, go back for that house. I've seen people insist just because sometimes we are very selfish. I have seen parents force a woman on a man just because of how much the man is sending. Okay. Say, my pikin, go manage for that house, okay. Go manage for that. So it is something we should really look at. Okay. It's very important.
Marriage not an employment. These days women are different. If you pay a bride price on a woman's head, she becomes yours. But if you give 5,000 francs a week to your wife, and she finds someone who gives her 10,000 francs a week, she will abandon you for that person. Women are okay. Good evening to you all in the studio. Mr. Liu, I love your program. It's Elvis Brown writing from Shell, New Bell. Good evening to you, Elvis. This one says, good evening, Mr. Liu and the panelists. What an interesting program you have there. Bride price should be symbolic and not a means to increase the family financial situation. We find a lot of people nowadays saying that they spent millions in educating their children. Let me put this simple question to those who are of that opinion. Did the boy's parents not send him to school as well? Let's remember that marriage is a journey of two young people, and if it doesn't have a good foundation, there are high chances of it to collapse. As parents, ask for the symbolic requirements and bless your children and wish them well in their marriage. Prince Ndikum Ivo is writing from Sweden. Good evening to you, Prince. This one says, my husband's classmate came looking for me after 22 years and he became satisfied. Ma Bisson writing, okay, to corroborate what you just said. Good evening, Mr. Liu and panelists. I would like to disagree with Apostle Ambe that marriage should be based on the girl's capacity rather than prayers. There are many ladies with high capacity but not married, but many with little or no capacity but married. What justification can he advance for this? Many factors account for marriage, beginning first with prayers, love, and etc. Enomulu Path writing from Bamenda. I'm not sure that is what Apostle meant by that analysis. Good evening to you people in the studio. Please, Mr. Liu, tell the technicians to adjust the images. Okay, some people are complaining about the sound. Good evening, Mr. Liu and all those in the studio. Concerning the bride price, Liu in the northwest of Batibo is danger. Their bride price has scared many away. That's why for a Batibo girl to get married now is difficult. Thank you. Yes. Good evening to you. Enjoying your show from Bakingili. Apostle has said it all. Apostle is a hero. All what he is saying is the gospel truth. Findi, I'm glad to hear that you are watching us from that end. We hope, I hope we are going to be meeting in the days ahead. Findi, good evening to all in the set. A very interesting topic we have here. With the question of bride price, I think is not supposed to be negotiable. Why do I say that? Looking at our African context, we have to know not just that direct family is considered when paying the bride price. Extended families is involved. If they are not given their share of what was demanded, witchcraft becomes inevitable. So a lot is at stake when it comes to bride price in Africa. Leo, please, my question goes to Apostle Ambe. Does building a capacity all about monetary value? Because he said okay, I asked him about that, but I'm sure I looked Apostle Alfred looked at the moral aspect. He was talking about building capacity from one aspect that was complemented by what Apostle Alfred said. Yes, but we have seen also some parents who were Africans. When it comes to bride price, some people think that they must chop something from it, and that if you don't, if I don't chop from it, they either curse they curse the lady, or they tie her womb and things like that. So it's something that should be treated with a lot of caution.
Yeah,
Some greedy.
I think this one is really
Mm.
is really sensitive. I want to believe that if maybe an uncle comes to that place where he's like, if I don't eat something behind this lady, I might tie her womb or something. If you trace his concept, his mindset, you discover that at some point where this lady was growing up, he was, you know, or he played a major role, maybe in her education somewhere, or in her upbringing or something. So according to him, he doesn't want to do an investment and then he doesn't reap from that investment. He surely helped this lady at one point in her life, maybe to sponsor her in school, support the father, or maybe to do something. So according to him, he should reap from that particular investment. But I think the issue of marriage, we have to be very careful, because marriage, first of all, is a spiritual thing. If mankind does not come to that place where they understand that marriage is something that comes from the heavens, is spiritual, because most of the times we bring all this, you know, physical, you know, intelligence. We want to look at it in the way that book work or whatsoever. It's spiritual. We have to look at it. We have to be very careful. If maybe a lady gets married to a rich guy, and the uncle had, you know, done some stuff, and the uncle is like, if I don't chop, I will do something. He has to be careful, because giving itself is free will.
Who has to be careful? The uncle?
Well, both parties. What if this lady in question,
yeah,
is so connected to God, and you go to do some diabolic act and she prays and backfires the stuff?
Is it not just wise that as the father, you should make sure that even your brothers, they should lick even salt?
Yes. Yeah, normally they are supposed to do that. They are supposed, you know, because there is this saying that a child is, you know, groomed by the whole community, not only maybe the uncle or the auntie. There are other people in the quarter who did one or two stuffs to that particular young man, like the president today. I'm very sure where he grew up, there were some people who were not his family members who did one or two things to make him, you know, grow up and stuff. So they are supposed to, you know, eat something or lick something. But it shouldn't come to that place where it is like a must, you know, it's some kind of ultimatum, you know. Papa is just, let me cite an example. One of my sisters was getting married one time, and one of our uncles, you know, they were like, the guy has to give this thing. It was like detective. My father said, no, I am the father to this lady. I will tell you what, you know, we can give from this whatsoever is coming into this marriage. So I just believe we have to be careful. Marriage is spiritual. We have to look at things spiritually.
We should use wisdom.
Wisdom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good evening. Due to the issue of finance, my males are still single, and some of the ladies are not ready to hold themselves from having sex with guys. Okay, many males are single. Mr. Liu and all, the good morning all. What I know is how naturally the love is, but if you force yourself to a man, and the man will complain of anything else, but when the love is there, the man will not care to pay anything. Ceci is writing from Limbe. It goes with the values. If somebody values you, he pays. Good evening to the panel. Can someone in the panel differentiate between bride price and dowry? I'm Felix writing from Douala. That was done already. Dowry is what the woman brings into a marriage. Bride price is what the man pays. Hello, I'm Elizabeth from Yaoundé. What do you think of a woman helping a man in payment of her own bride price? That is a question I have for Apostle Ambe. Good evening. My name is Godlove from Balinyonga. Bride price is giving the parents respect and honor to God. Good evening to all in the house. Okay. Evening, Mr. Liu and the panelists. I'm really enjoying the program tonight. The Muslim have the best way to marry. For the Christians, you should only baptize to become Muslim. Our marriage is simple as ABC from Alhaji Masco. Okay. This one says, Apostle Ambe is right. Women capacity is essential. Women may have good education but poor character. Okay, this one says, good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm Elvis from Bomenda. Our kids are not credit union that we put in money and expect to get it back from bride price. Character is everything, because some families do exploit their in-laws to be by extracting exorbitant sums of monies in the name of bride price. Good evening, sir. The panelists have given a clear difference between the two, just to say that dowry are given by the families during some marriage ceremonies, e.g. the pots, the plates, the buckets, foodstuff, and many other things for them to take and start their life with. Jevin is writing from Bibunde. Lista Montana watching from Yaoundé says, good evening, Mr. Liu and the great panelists. In some homes, if a lady is fair in color, went to expensive school, her bride price increases. The worst is if she studied abroad. Is Lista Montana writing from Yaoundé. Good evening to you, Lista. Yes, the question I was going to ask you has been asked already. Is it a taboo for a woman to hand money to the husband to come and pay the bride price?
Well, that's a very technical question, and I think I'm going to be answering it technically. It's just like saying that, can a woman approach a man if she's in love with a man? Mm-hmm. That's a million-man question that everybody's asking. It's not bad. It's not a taboo, but it's not honorable. You see, the Bible says marriage is honorable. There is an honor attached to marriage, and everybody deserves that honor. And the Bible says a man shall look for. A man shall look for, not a woman on the other hand. The problem is not who is looking for who. The problem is the outcome of this search. You have seen situations where men will stand up and insult a woman. That if not because you worked money and gave me to go and dowry you, I didn't love you. Because we know of eventualities that occur in the future. I will advise any woman to build a foundation in a marriage tomorrow. You will not become a mockery. Because I know how arrogant some men are. I know how flippant, how abusive some men are. They will take that singular act of you giving them money to dowry you to insult you tomorrow. Because a man will never always admire you the way you are without having misunderstanding. And once that particular foundation has a crack, there will be a serious problem in your marriage in the future. You can say the man has worked some money and he doesn't have sufficient money. Then you say you are coming in to help him. The fact that a man does not have money by himself to dowry you is already a question mark. Because the honor and the dignity of every man is the capacity to dowry a woman. Most people at times in most communities will never support you when it comes to the bride price. They can give you any other support because it is that bride price that proves your manhood. When I was going to marry, my elder brother had money to give me. He told me that, you see this one called bride price? That is where the manhood in you has to manifest. If you are not ready to give this particular money, you will not marry because I will not give you. And now I want to tell you as a lady, it is a man that's supposed to sweat and work that money, because it is that particular act that proves his worth tomorrow. If you are helping a man dowry or pay your bride price, then you will help him tomorrow pay house rent. You will help him tomorrow dress him. At least even if you are going to support a man tomorrow, which is biblical and correct, you have to allow him prove his worth by sweating, beating his body to prove that he has the right to own you by paying that bride price. I cannot cancel any woman to give a man money to go and pay her bride price. It does not give you any honor. I know girls try it, and if you ask most of them, I'm talking that in every rule there's an exception. If you ask most of those ladies who give men money to pay their bride price, they ended up receiving very serious abuses in their lives in the future. That's the truth. A misunderstanding will come up and the man bursts forth in anger and say, were you not the one that even forced me and gave me to go and pay your bride price? Please avoid such things. As a matter of fact, if a man has 2 testicles beneath his legs, he should prove that by paying your bride price. That alone does not only signify that he has value for you, it also proves that he has a price tag to pay for you. And anybody who cannot pay any price for you does not value you. Because only things that have value have a price. The things they give for free that have no price have no value. So don't dare such a thing, even though girls are daring because they are very desperate in this generation. To add to what we are talking about, tradition, custom, there are a lot of cultures that are biblical. If parents are asking for bride price, it is biblical. God introduced it in scriptures. And the scripture also says in the book of Ephesians chapter 6, it says, honor your father and your mother. He said, this is the first commandment with a promise. There is a commandment without a promise. The first commandment is love the Lord thy God with all your heart. It has no promise. But the first commandment that has a promise is honor your father and your mother so that your days may be long on the earth. So if they say honor your father and your mother, I have said there, repeated, that honor is different from respect. You honor with substance. So in order to honor, you must carry along substance to prove that you place value on the person. And now the scripture says marriage also is honorable, not marriage is respectful. And the bed undefiled. The two kinds of honor is the moral honor and the honor of substance. If a man honors you very well, he will go and pay a price on your head. Even if the price is not expensive, the fact that he swam through a stream, he went through the forest, he climbed the mountains, he beat himself left to right to look for that particular price as an exchange for your head, has given you so much value as a woman. The problem is not the amount, it's not the quantity. The problem is the honor attached to the fact that a man went through 7 mountains and 7 hills, climbed through all kinds of hills and valleys to look for that particular money that was meant for the exchange. Rebecca did not come to Isaac's house because the father was poor. She came from a rich home. Why is it that girls who come from rich home, poor boys still pay bride price? The bride price not because the family need the money. The bride price because the family wants to recognize the fact that that girl was not just a dash. So please, madam, in the name of the Lord Jesus, I'm begging you, if you work money and give a man to dowry you or to pay your bride price or beg a pardon, you are on your own.
Okay, you're on your own. Good evening to all. Casey Clovis, thanks a million for making me understand the difference between dowry and bride price, because I was made to understand that bride price is the money you give your father-in-law, and dowry the items they ask. No. Thanks. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Liu and the panel. Love the program. Thanks for the clarification between bride price and dowry. Okay, some families demand high bride price to see how much value the man has for the woman, which is later negotiated. I think it's just showing appreciation for separating someone from her family. Teke Listavi, writing from Yaoundé 2. This one says, in the Northwest, it's not easy to marry a lime girl. They actually sell their children. She is writing from Sancho. I don't know, the spelling is not too well. I don't know, you surely missed what. Apostle Ambe, you are just the best. You handle issues the way they ought to be. Some men are really abusive. Women never give your own money for bride price. Okay. Gwen, writing from Kumba, says, good evening to you all. Good evening. Good evening to all. First, what is bride price? Sum of money or quantity of goods given to a bride's family by that of the groom, especially in tribal societies. This does not mean selling of the daughter. So for me, it should be not only on monetary terms, but at least an appreciation to the parents for taking care of the beauty. Not all parents are responsible. At least for those who are responsible should be appreciated. Like in South Sudan, bride price is based on height, education, and cows is the price. Should a father who abandoned the daughter receive the bride price while the hard-working heart is there? See everywhere from the land of smile. Okay? No, you did not spell it. Okay, you are writing from Thailand, but you did not spell your names very well. Good evening to you all in the studio. Felix from Bonaberi Douala. Parents should consider bride price as an expression for their efforts in the upbringing of the female child and not a selling price for the daughter. You are a man of God. Would you bless a marriage without the payment of the bride price? Is it a sin not to pay the bride price?
Yes. Let me just say one thing that Apostle Ambe was trying to talk here on the issue of a girl giving money for the man to pay the bride price. Yes, assisting. You know, the Bible says wisdom is the principal thing. So get wisdom. But with all that getting, get understanding. There are so many ways you can give a man money without necessarily calling it that, take my bride price and go and pay for me. There are many ways. You can decide to set up a business venture, both of you. You set up a business, but through that business, money will come out from that. When some money come out, you say, don't you think that it's time for us to face our marriage that is before us? You're not telling him that going to pay my dowry or my bride price or what. You just suggest, don't you think it's time for us to face this thing? You say, okay, at least there's money. Everybody is seeing that there's money. And that money did not come from him. It came from a business venture. So you can use many different methods, but to call a name for it, it's really a challenge. Just use it. Use different methods. Use different styles. You can decide to use different styles to do that, because some men are really mean. They can even tell you to borrow me money. I will go and pay you your dowry. Yes. You say, borrow me money. If you want me to hurry and go and do this thing, please borrow me money, and it becomes a very big problem at the end of the day. Yes, Mr. Lloyd, please come up with this thing. I think it just went up my mind now.
My question: would you bless a marriage
that lawfully it's wrong? The government will not allow you to do that.
To do what?
To bless a marriage that does not, you've not gone through due process, especially it has not gone to the courts. Government, when it has gone to the courts, you have your marriage certificate. Who am I not to bless you? I would not even want to know whether you have done all those things. So if the court can say, well, we bring your marriage certificate, we can bless you.
So you would not consider whether the bride price was paid or not?
We advise and we follow up for people to do that, especially at the level of our churches. But if it has gone to the level where the government has decided to say these individuals are mature and they can take decisions of their own, then maybe one or two reasons you try to counsel and discover that it was a problem, because there are so many other things that are attached to this issue of bride price. I know of people that have vehemently refused that their daughter will not get married to that guy because of one thing or the others. Yes, so they went ahead and did their court marriage, and then they went to the church, and then
it was blessed.
It was blessed. It's happening today everywhere, because some families are very unrealistic. They did, you know, some say no.
Until you bring 2 cows.
There is a mother that have a vow that my daughter will not marry because I've already given my daughter over to a shrine. Is the one to take over to this thing, this kind of a thing. And this daughter happened to get engaged to a pastor, and the pastor said, we're going to pray about it. And instead of the mother to succumb to it, the mother said she will better die than to allow that daughter to get married. So what happens? They went ahead. There are so many dangerous reasons why a girl or a boy can decide to say, we don't want to follow the bride price procedures, because it's very diabolic. Sometimes it's very risky. Sometimes you even go to this. Like I went to one village in the northwest around the Kumbo area there to pay the dowry of one of my cousins who was out of the country. I was going to stand on his behalf, and I went to where they were supposed to give the wine something. They had to put it on the shrine. I told them that no, I cannot drink this. I told them I'm not going to drink it. They say yes, now because we know so you be pastor, because they don't already tell we so you be pastor. We know that you cannot drink that kind of a thing. But what about some innocent people that would drink those things? You become a part of that altar. You become a part of that shrine. There are some kind of things that is so deadly. You enter into it, you become in bondage. Sometimes you go into your marriage, you cannot sleep. Your marriage cannot be fine because they're only calling you back in the village and some things. So when we see these things, you are faced with such things, what do? You tell them to follow the normal procedure. If they can take their decisions and go to court and sign it, and the government accepts it with their witnesses, because at the level of the court, they don't want to know whether the person that is standing there is your father or mother. They just know that you came with a witness that is saying that you are a witness. Then what happens? You come to the church sees your marriage certificate. What do? They will go ahead and bless you, because they know that you are already legally married people. Whether we like it or not, you're married. Okay. So in order for your conscience to be clear, we want to bless you so that you will have the spiritual backing of the church. And then maybe sometime later in life, they can go back to their families and do what? And make peace and do many other things and go ahead.
Okay, bride price in Bafut is very cheap, because there are following what your husband paid to the bride family, or what you, the father of bride, paid to the in-law. For example, my father paid 100,000 francs for the in-law, and my father can't receive more than 100,000 francs from his daughters. is writing from Bafut. Okay, you receive what you pay. Good evening, Mr. Leo. What about the situation where you support your husband with some little money to add to the bride price? Apostle Ambe, please answer me. Success. Siri?
I said that it is different when the man has labored a certain amount of money and then you are coming to support him do that. But that you walk every kobo and say, go and dowry me, madam, you have no value. People only pay and labor.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, the pride of every man is to cross 7 seas, 7 mountains, and 7 valleys to look for that singular money that will dowry you.
Okay. I love this media. God bless you, Mr. Leo. God bless you too, who is wishing us well good. Good evening, Mr. Leo. I wish to ask this: when you divorce a woman in the court and your dowry is still with her family, is that woman still your wife or not, with 2 children? Peter is writing from Yaoundé. Bride price is good, but there is life after marriage. So which is important? High bride price and suffering tomorrow, or an understanding moderate price, bride price? We should negotiate. Hi, Mr. Leo. Good evening to all in the studio. Enjoying the program. Wish my father could be watching. Some fathers don't spend a dime on their daughters, both education-wise and others. But when they see a man who is ready to take you, they start adding school fees. See the auntie, see this uncle. You need to settle them, and everything becomes difficult. Most especially, the man might leave, and no bride price given. No. Please educate our parents. Stephanie is writing from Yaoundé. Good evening, Mr. Leo and panelists. It's right for a father that abandoned. Is it right for a father that abandoned the children to his wife to collect bride price on the children's head? It's Auntie Marie writing from Kumba. This question is recurrent. Hello, hi. I'm texting from Douala. I am presently following the program, and I would like to know the least amount a man could pay as a bride price. Okay. Greetings in Jesus' name. Please, I wish to ask if it is biblical for your in-laws to come and see or visit you after you struggling to pay the bride price. 2. What is the bride price, when and how many times can it be paid? Thanks. Please, for Apostle Ambe's number. Apostle Ambe's number. Please, for I wish to know the tribe that has the cheaper and expensive bride price. Thanks. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I just want to wish you people happy new month. It's Daniel writing from Tombe. Yes, would you bless the marriage that the bride price has not been paid for? And he says that Apostle Alfred says that what they consider more is the court. But which is more important, the traditional that's paying the bride price or the court?
I think when we talked about marriage the last time, we made it very clear here that actually marriage happens when the family they have done the exchange. We actually made sure that we talked about it being pivotal around the family. Even biblically, we see that it's pivotal around the family. But then again, we are in a complex society, and we know that we have also seen how it is beneficial and protective, and it's beautiful. In fact, it even protects both parties. It's not only the man, it does not protect only the woman. In fact, there are many men that it's the certificate that protected them. I know of many men, it's a certificate that protected them because of women also come. I know of people who have targeted men to get something, but the certificate protected all of that. So it's a little bit tricky question, because the answer to that question is not simply a yes or a no. The truth is, as a counselor, as a marriage counselor and a coach, there are situations where I can bless when they have not done the exchange, and there are situations I will not accept. So that's why every case is unique. For example, like he mentioned, there are some people I know. There was a case that came to me, and the mother's reason that they will not marry is that ma pikin no go marry bayangige. True story. Now that's the only, not that she knows the man, not that the man has any bad character or has a problem. No, the mamina said, and sometimes this is just a vendetta against an old boyfriend who broke her heart 20 years ago. He said, no, buying the people wicked. That means you take one experience from your small secluded life and you generalize it and make we do this a lot of times. You're supposed to say nowadays sometimes you need more. I told someone, I said, even if you date 700 men, do you know how many men are on this earth? Even after 700 men, you still don't have the right to say all men. That 700 men is still a very probability, so that's a tiny, is a drop of water in an ocean. We don't make those kind of conclusions. So Mr. Lu, tell me, a woman, first I had some challenges when I wanted to marry my wife. My father was, first of all, personally, my father was first of all not in agreement. My father had some issues because I don't want to bring all the story here, but my father had some issues. So my father was like, nah, I have an issue, I'm not very clear about this. I had to wait for a year, personally. So as a counselor, their situation we try to handle to the best of our knowledge, like what I talk about this one. See, the only reason somebody say that doesn't matter is because of a tribe, for no reason. Now imagine that. So I will always advise you not to just defy your parents at once, because I hope not legally, people who are above 21 have the right to marry without even their parents.
But is it a sin not to pay the bride price? No,
if you are honored, if marriage is honorable, and part of the honor, right, involves, because the truth is biblical, you need to show honor. You understand? So when we're talking about this sin, we are saying that a person who knows what they are doing,
it is a sin not to pay.
It's a crime.
It's not. It's really. If you say it's a crime,
when we say it's a crime, what if you are really poor and they're asking 1 million? What
yes,
happens?
no. That is what I was trying to say. That was good. That was what I was trying to say. That when you ask whether you should not pay or pay, people always move to the extremes. Yes. That's my point. A man who is honorable, look, yes. It is better you say, I have 25,000.
Yes.
You understand? You cannot have the heart to say, I want to bring a woman to the house and take up the woman that you don't have 50,000. Now the problem comes now, but when what you have is not enough, it's a different case. Yes. But if you say you don't have anything to give as honor to the parents who raised the woman, or to place value on the woman you want to marry, you yourself are not ready for marriage. I think part of being ready for marriage, I think sometimes some parents do that to see if this person is even, because we have said that even financially you should be ready. Okay. So it does not mean that you have millions per se, but at least there should be something you can give to show that you are able and you honor this person.
But there is some effort you will show in a family that the family can give you that daughter for borrow.
Yeah, that is it. But we are just, but he's asking a case where he's asking a case also where the family doesn't want to hear it. I think that's what he's trying to say. Yeah. So, yes. But we are saying that it can happen. I can bless marriages that has not passed through that phase if we have done everything humanly possible to make it happen, and it is just that bias or customary that is want to block it, then we will have to overlook that.
I think for me, I would not bless a marriage where the bride price has not been paid. What is my reason? I want to look at God, the origin of marriage. The Bible said God caused the man to sleep, he took his rib. If Adam did not have money as we do today, God took something from him to look for his wife, which means it is a crime, as Apostle said. It is wrong for you to bring two people together without the man going to see the family of this woman. That lady did not come from space. God himself took something from Adam to pay a price, his rib. So I'm not sure I can bless a marriage where, you know, this man has not paid the bride price. I will not do that.
No,
because in the case, Bible doesn't accept.
In the case of divorce, what happens with the bride price? They have to refund?
Well, from stories we've heard and from things I've seen.
Yeah, prophet, what does the Spirit say?
Okay, the Spirit. Okay. In the case of divorce, should the bride price? Yes, I'm trying to look into the realm of the Spirit. Yeah.
Okay, we are in the spiritual here.
Well, I believe that when you plant something, it has to grow. Yeah. And if you have given, you know, some bride price for a woman, you consummated this woman. in that marriage before divorce. So not actually not actually finish the bride price, but somehow you can't quantify. What if that woman has given you children? Can you pay for the labor in the labor room?
That's very strong.
If she has given you children?
What if she has not?
If she has not, all the sex and all these things you do,
Okay.
she pacifies your manly nature, because man at times can be very animalic, if that word is really correct here, and then the woman is there to calm you down. Can you pay for that? I'm not trying to say sex is money, no, but I believe you know,
the Bible says when in the case of divorce, just give a letter and that's it.
Yeah.
I think that bride price we are talking is not always in substance.
Yes.
It's the consent that the person, the parents of the girl give when it comes to handing over their child. Okay, even if they might not receive a dime.
We bless.
It's the consent. Yes. One of my pastors was to marry in Batibu. I gave him money. When he reached there, the family of the girl said, take the girl and go. We don't want to stress you. Go to the council there. We'll come and sign as witnesses. Anytime in life you are comfortable, that consent from the parents of the girl without receiving any substance is what called bride price. The bride price is beyond substance.
Whatever is given is symbolic.
Yes. So it's the consent. Sometimes parents will not take anything. They can love you, the son-in-law, and say, we hand you our daughter. That simple act of blessing the both of you and giving you out in peace is what we call the actual bride price.
Yeah, I raised this issue because you hear many persons say that they have to pay, they have to refund what I paid. Yeah.
I think
let me conclude. There are men, for instance, I have vowed not to take a dime for any of my daughters. It's my choice. It's my choice. 2 reasons. Number one, I want to give my son-in-law the confidence that he's met another father, not a trader. That's the first thing. Secondly, when you misuse my daughter tomorrow, you will not have anything to hang on. Because people take this little trash called bride price to malhandle people's daughter as an pay money for your head.
I don't pay for your head.
Those are the 2 things I'm avoiding. I want to make my son-in-law believe that he has met a father, not another trader. I'm not selling the product. Secondly, I'm making him understand that that child I gave to him was not a piece of material I sold. You will not come and give 2 pigs that cannot compare to a human being. Then tomorrow you say, I pay money for your head, because this is the common statement that we find in most houses. How much did you pay?
Apostle, I think that if I want to go and marry in a place, you tell me that I should not pay money, I will refuse. I will refuse. Now, I prefer that you take something and then you give your daughter a dowry.
I'm not sure
so that she can cover up for that.
Nothing.
Yes,
I'm sure symbolically,
something has to be done.
That's what I'm trying to communicate. I have said that the real bride price is not the substance. It has to do with the consent.
And they must go with the collar knot.
That consent is not. Yes. People must gather now.
Yes.
Do you think persons will gather in? As a matter of fact, it's not me alone that will collect the bride price. I have brothers and sisters that will come. Good. Definitely, something to be prepared that day. That understand? That symbolic act that we ate something is a sign that 2 family exchange vows. Not that you will come and give goods in exchange of human being. Then you want to commensurate or compare that goat tomorrow to a human being and say, I paid money on her head. How much did you pay as compared to what we have spent from childhood? What I'm trying to make us understand is this: let us give our children out from a heart of peace, wishing them well. And even to the extent that if things are not getting better with them, we can still step in to support them. Okay, this idea of selling children should stop in Africa, because we actually sell our daughters.
I'm sure the spirit behind what Apostle is saying is that whatever the children should be given, whatever they bring symbolically should be accepted.
Yes.
That is what is trying
That's
to...
what I'm communicating.
Yes. Okay, let me take a few messages. There's so many. Good evening, Mr. Liu. What about the situation where you support your husband? Okay. This one says, go to Bafoot. We are very cheap because our parents, and it's a Bafoot man. There, he said, go to Bafoot. Go to Bafoot. We are very cheap because our parents do not sell us like cows. I'm talking to the guy who just asked where the bride price is cheaper. Success. Siri writing from Kribi. Apostle Ambe is actually from Bafoot. So it tells that you are corroborating what you just said. This one says, excellent, Mr. Liu, please, what are your takes on situations where the bride price is being paid to the uncle or brother in the absence of the father of the girl? There are times when the uncle may be deliberately making things difficult for the lady. Things I've witnessed a lot. Please extend my regards to Apostle Lefor Divine. Stephanie Ngum writing from Moliko in Boya. Good evening, Mr. Liu. In my tradition, if your parents send you to school to a certain level, the bride price is as from 1 million. Danny is writing from Bamenda. Mr. Liu, please ask Apostle Ambe if he paid bride price on his wife's head. I'm sure he paid. Mr. Liu, please ask. Okay. No, you have sent this message 3 times to ask him whether he paid. I'm sure he did. Good evening, Mr. Liu and the crew. Please, bride price is not money, no materials, but bride price is an agreement between both families. Stefan Gideon writing from Bamenda. Good evening to the house. It is possible for a married man marry another woman without divorcing, especially when the marriage certificate was signed. Monogamy. Emilia is writing from Bali. Good evening, Mr. Liu and other panelists in the studio. The issue of bride price becomes a problem when the amount is exaggerated. It's just a symbolic price since we don't sell human beings. In my opinion, in my own culture, the bride price never gets finished as you continue to contribute financially, morally, and materially when your in-laws are in need. I'm Kong Wilson Bangse at Mokolo in the far north region of Cameroon. This one says, haha, this program is very educative. Thank you. Let me take 1 or 2. This one says, bonsoir tout le panel. C'est l'ancien Delphine de Yaoundé. Merci à l'apôtre Ambe Valentin Gua pour ses conseils. Okay, thank you, ancien. Ancien means elder, no? This one says, good evening, Mr. Liu Amo from Yaoundé. I think this bride price is a biblical prescription, but some families exaggerate, particularly the people from the center region. Bride price to me is symbolic, okay? Yes, but if it is exorbitant, your daughters won't get married, no? Love is the most powerful force in our lives. If they exist between both parties and the lady is financially fit, she should not help the boy in buying for her bride price because people will talk or what. Happiness should be the first thing. We should be looking at here, not where the money comes from. The Hebrew Bible mentions the practice of paying a bride price to the father of a virgin and unmarried young woman. Exodus 22, 16-17 states, suppose a young woman has never had sex and isn't engaged, so should a man pay bride price for a woman who is not a virgin? Stew everywhere from the land of smiles. Okay, yes, writing from Thailand. A quick attention to this will be very good to see, but there are times that when we, the girl's parents, refuse to take bride price, the girl's uncle will turn to inflict the girl, okay, paint on the girl. Now, we are going to take a short break. Where we come back, we discuss very briefly on our last topic for tonight. Welcome back. You're watching Prime Hour on My Media Prime. This time around, we are going to be looking at deadly secrets. I don't know why it's deception that I'm seeing there, but I'm sure it was secrets that could ruin a relationship or marriage. I will start with you, Apostle. Deadly deceptions. Okay, it was deception. Okay, then I really made an error. What was in my mind was the spiritual mind. Apostle, let me start with you. We go round since we have just 30 minutes. Deadly secrets that could ruin a marriage or a relationship. One of them is health conditions that we hide from our partners, which eventually may lead to parties separating.
Yes, and everybody who finds out later on that the partner was hiding some health issues and did not open up before marriage, such a person has the right to divorce. Those are platforms on which we tolerate divorce. It should be that you voluntarily accept the person the way the person is. I think transparency is a very pivotal sign of integrity when it comes to marriage. When people are in courtship is when certain things are exposed to each other. For instance, in our cycle in the church, we always tell people to go for medical tests, and there are specific tests we ask people to run. Pregnancy test, HIV test, blood group test, and all those things are done to verify if both parties are compatible. Sometimes you can be an AS, you marry an AS, which is dangerous to give birth to an SS. All those medical conditions are put into place. There are also situations whereby people have opened up to their partner, like one of my pastors some years back. The fiancé was HIV positive, and I asked them on several occasions if they are still ready to get married. They insisted they were to get married. Love, Bible says, is stronger than death. I think they were bonded to the extent that the man was willing to die by contacting the disease from the woman. But fortunately for both of them, they got married, they gave birth to a child, and they are very, very hale and hearty today. That was to them according to their faith. They made a decision to settle together. There are others whom, when they got in touch, the woman had lost her womb. She kept it as a secret. There are other situations where the man was impotent. Since in Christendom, we don't verify the potency of a man before marriage because premarital sex is not permitted, a lot of people whose sexual organs have failed hide behind that single law and penetrate the church to frustrate the lives of individuals. But by the book of Experience, chapter 5, verse 22, we have advised our sisters that when you find such a person tomorrow, if you cannot contain the relationship anymore, you are free to pack out of the relationship because you cannot endanger your life, your destiny, because somebody manipulated you into a relationship. So health issues are very, very vital. Going to the hospital to run checks and to do tests before marriage is not faithlessness. It is called wisdom. Wisdom is profitable to direct. So if at all you don't go and do those checks in the name of love, a time will come where the passion and the affection you feel will die. You will learn to face realities. There is an excitement when you are getting married. Until you enter into marriage and they don't see the fruits of a couple in your life, then you will understand how shameful it is to be married without results. So we advise you to be very careful and be cautious. There are others also who creep into the church who are not physically sick, but they are spiritually sick. For instance, some of them are initiated into cults and witchcraft. They come pretend in the church, they swindle our sisters and then stop them from going to church. That's why you don't just need to be medically aware. You have to be spiritually discerning in order to know the kind of person you have to get married to. Because if we are talking about health issues here, there is a physical health, there is a spiritual health, and there is a psychological health. Okay. So these things must be put into serious consideration.
We are going to be taking a listening to Tiku Felix, who will contribute to our first topic. I almost forgot. Tiku Felix, can we get what you think about this issue of bride price and dowry?
Good evening, Mr. Leo. Good evening to the entire panel. Mr. Leo, bride price and dowry to me are the same thing, just for the fact that it is being performed by the two different parties. The bride price is being performed by the groom, while the dowry is being performed by the bride. Bride price is what the groom pays to the bride's family or her in-laws to be before their marriage, to make it legal, or for it to actually be recognized by every other person in the family. This can be in monetary form or in the form of material or goods, or even both. And the amount or the material to be brought is determined by the bride's parents, though it can be bargained. This is a very typical African culture, and in recent times it has become a kind of a big business, especially to some families who, instead of receiving something that is reasonable with the notion that their daughter has a life to live after marriage, they instead tack a huge amount of money. That's like selling their daughter. Bride price in recent times has turned to something else, Mr. Leo. Normally with most of the African cultures in the time past, when you talk of bride price, they will ask you to pay just a token with some other goodies, like some very significant goodies. They ask you to bring stuff like a bag of salt, or you bring a goat, a pig, a jug of wine, that's palm wine. You will be asked to bring loin, shirts or caps, walking stick, etc. This was just something significant with regards to our culture. But Mr. Leo, I want to say, now it has turned to something else. You are asked to pay in hundreds of thousands and in millions, besides giving a double of the material I just named. You hear people say you bring 1 million francs or 1.5 million francs for a bride price, you bring 3 goats, 2 pigs, 5 loins, 6 bottles of wines, and some people are even asking TV sets. They describe the kind of plasma TV that you bring. Some will even ask cow. So it has become something else, Mr. Leo. Now, you buy your wife, as I can say, you no longer get married to your wife. You buy her. Reason why most sons-in-laws, they have a very repulsive attitude when it comes to dealing with their wife's family or dealing with their in-laws. So people look at their daughters and put all their loads of poverty on them and tack it to the man that will get married to their daughter. This is so wonderful, Mr. Leo, or terrible if I may say. Some tell you how much they have spent in sending their daughter to school. Even if you are educated than that daughter, they tell you how much they have spent to send that girl to school, so the bride price need to be high. Not considering that you coming to get married to that girl, you are also educated and even higher, and besides, you are taking a load upon you. It's so funny. It's so funny. To me, I think there's nothing like bride price again. Instead, we go and buy our wives. Now, with regards to dowry, Mr. Leo, on the other hand, it's just like the same thing that the man does. But this time, it's a bit different. Because a dowry is what the woman brings in the marriage. That's what the family of the woman, of the bride, gives to the man as a support. You understand? As a support. And they do this with this as a different intention. With the man you give because you want to take the woman, but with them you give. Why are they doing this? They are doing.
Okay, thank you there, Felix Atiku, filing in there from Boya, Southwest Regional Capital. Now, Apostle Alfred, one of the other deadly secrets or deception that may easily ruin a relationship or a marriage is hiding property investments from one another. We have men who buy plots, build, construct houses without the knowledge of their wives, and vice versa.
Well, in our society today, that's very common, but so it's really not deadly as such. That's not really deadly, it's common. Most men do that everywhere. The wives don't even know their bank accounts, the wife doesn't even know how much they have. Some of them even die. You don't even know where to consult who, what document is kept where. It's just a common thing in the society today, so it may not even look deadly. And most women don't really find it maybe very...
There are many women with investments without the knowledge of their husband.
Yes, on the other hand, the men consider women that are having investments as a very bad wife. That you're supposed to submit everything to the man. But what many women don't know is that no matter how much your husband hides what property, so far as those property are carrying his name, in case of anything that has to go to the level of the court, you divide that property into two. That's how it goes. Monogamy, and you say joint property.
Yes, you say joint property.
And most people sign joint property in the court. Most people, in order to declare their love and to do this, sign joint property. And many women don't know this, so they just go about and they are just careless. You are entitled to half of everything that you people own. Whether the man owns 10 cars, 20, this thing everywhere, immediately you discover all those things. At the level of the court, half of those things belong to you, and it's your right, and that kind of a thing. So don't begin to panic or begin to shake. And also the same for the man. No matter how much the woman has kept for whatever, when in case of anything, half of those goods belong to you. Like Bill Gates and Melinda Gates, they are just at this particular level of their life. They are 27 years in marriage. They are divorcing. Now you ask yourself, why should they be divorcing at this level? Yes, they are divorcing with I think two good children. They are divorcing for what reason? The simple thing is that they are not just going to go like that. Half of their property will be divided, because that's what is at the level of the court. They take it very serious when it comes to the Western world. It's a very serious thing. That's why some of our boys go there and marry some of the people there, so that in case the person dies or whatever, they can easily divide the goods and take some things home and like that.
Yeah, but you say it's common. Would you find it very normal that you live with a woman for 27 years, like the case of Bill Gates, only to discover one day that she owns 5-story buildings in Douala, she has plots in... would you find that funny?
Why do we put a she? Why don't we also say a he? When we talk about a she, it's because our society has a stigma on women. Yes, it has a stigma on women. Why should it be a she who is discovered? If her own things are discovered, it becomes a problem. But when a man's own are discovered, it's normal. That's the society where we live in. Now, like for example, see what Apostle Ambe was talking about, the health issue. When you want to marry from the beginning, you go and do health checks and all the like. And you are dating or getting engaged or courtship for 1-2 years. In the course of that, many things happen in the middle. If somebody contacted HIV and AIDS or some kind of disease during that period, what can you explain? Because after that, there's not going to be any other check. And that's kind of a thing. That's what we're trying to say, that some of this too much carefulness may not help in some things. I'm trying to avoid people, I'm trying to advise people to position their mind in such a way that when you see some things that come up, don't be rash to say that maybe this person hid something from me. It may just be that in the course of time, some things happen that they themselves were not aware of what was happening. Especially these health disabilities and all those kind of things. They happen. Somebody, yes, I'm just bringing it like that. It's a secret. It's a deadly secret. Those are the things that are more deadly. This property thing is, to an extent, is not deadly because people already know.
You have not answered my question.
Yes. No, you said something about if you discover that this person has hit this thing. It will be a surprise, though. But
that your wife has all these things, and
yes,
to you it's just a surprise. And
it would be a surprise.
And you think that you're living with a woman for 27 years only for her to discover that you have all this, she will take it lightly?
No, it will not be lightly, but it is going to be...
You give the impression that it's common.
No, but it's a common thing. Every day, there are bank accounts there that are dormant, they are lying fallow because of what? The man died, the woman did not know anything. The wife died, the man did not know anything.
Did the woman find it funny?
they find it funny, but many a times they only settle it to benefit it back. Because what would you want to do?
Yes, Apostle, I don't know how you appreciate this.
Yes.
Yeah.
The thing is, the truth is, it is deep. It will be. I think I will be in a rage, personally. Why? Because, like he said, we are looking at that society.
The two have become one.
Yes. Now, but I get the point of the man. What if it's the man? Because it's very common. The truth is, there are many businesses that if you ask maybe my wife, can you give me the details of this business, she might not say. That's the honest truth. But it is different from hiding properties for 27 years. Especially, this thing always goes deep, especially when you don't even know the operations of the woman. For example, my wife knows that it would be foolishness to be trying to put her mind on all the businesses and the organization I run. She knows it's not given to her. I don't know if you get my point. That is the understanding. I'm trying to talk about it, that it is not a hidden thing. But now, if after 12, 15 years, for example, I cannot imagine, let me say, for example, my wife is running. I know that she's just let me say a teacher, a secondary school teacher. Yes. I'm just giving an example. She's just a secondary teacher, and we can know her salary and we know her operations. Then, after 10, 15 years, you want to see she has built 2 houses, maybe one for her mom or something hidden. Now you look all of this and it cannot make sense. Now for me, it becomes a very delicate when it doesn't make sense. It becomes, that's where
we are talking about secrets.
Secrets, yes. Well, talk about the deadly. That means it doesn't make sense, because, for example, she understands my operations in such a way that if today they come and say, oh, there's 2 million, you say, yeah, oh, I know my husband does business, because there's no anything. I take care of the family. She understands the runnings of how the things is, and the trust that we have, she will never, because sometimes it's lack of trust. I mean, you say, you get that much, you will do like this. She knows that. Especially when you're taking care of all of it. But when it starts come to that point where you look and you discover your wife has done something out of that, it shows it can be a sign of I was planning.
There was no trust.
Yes, I was planning. It's like a plot, and I think that's where the problem comes from. Where it looks like you don't trust enough, or it looks like you had some plan in the future to do something, and in case you do that, you should be secure.
It depends on the kind of perspective.
Because in America, if you don't trust, they have something we call a prenup. You just better sign your prenup and know that, okay, if something happens, my property is this. But then to hide.
Yes. There are some people that you don't trust.
Then do prenup. Let it be open. Do a prenup.
Okay. I want us to look at this issue very critically. A man stays with a woman for so many years and he discovers she has property. Marriage, the two become one flesh. If the woman is doing stuff without the man's knowledge, it means the one flesh separated. There is problem. If the woman is not comfortable to let this man know, her financial situation, same thing with the man. Both ways. It means that love they had, that oneness, separated somewhere. And I think there should be that they have to go back to the drawing board, okay, to check what went wrong.
No, but if you don't trust a woman's ability with money, why not just notify them? We are talking about things that they never knew.
Yes,
we are saying the same thing.
I love prenups.
We are saying the same thing. If you loved a woman so much from the onset, where you were like wooing this woman, and you told her, I'm this, I work here, I have this, and then suddenly you start keeping aside vital information. Something has transpired somewhere. There's something wrong. Either this woman, or most of us have said it already, lack of trust.
It's lack of trust, definitely.
Lack of trust. And if there is lack of trust, the marriage is no more working. There is no marriage.
You are in a marriage and you're already preparing a plan B.
Yes, that's the sign.
Every day in our communities. Those are common things. And that's why I want to say, let us try to prepare the hearts of people. Because don't be too shocked, because they are happening. They will be happening every day. Don't be shocked.
But is it normal?
No, it's not normal. It's abnormal.
Would you take it as a normality if you were to find out that your wife has investments in town?
But I wouldn't allow it to get to my BP, my blood pressure.
No. Would you take it normal?
It would not be normal. It's abnormal. No, but I wouldn't allow it to get to my BP. Like so many people are dying now because of that. A lot of families are dying. Some people are asking for counseling now. I have discovered this. What do I do? My sister, it is happening. Maybe you have not heard your neighbor's own. If you hear your neighbor's own, you collapse. So please just know that if you see it, be careful.
One secret is the child with whom you are living is not a child. Only for you to discover. Yes. That one is current.
Those are deadly secrets.
Yes.
You know, there is there's a recent move now on social media with the hashtag DNA. You know, it's very common in our society. It's very common. There are a lot of people who have fathered children, and others have been responsible for the children. They are irresponsible fathers, and they are responsible fathers. What do I mean? Somebody will impregnate a girl or impregnate someone's wife, and then you are the one taking care of the woman and then fathering the child. This is very common in our society today because of infidelity. Adultery is on a rise.
Neighbor.
Yes, adultery is on a rise, and these things occur because sometimes women do not derive sexual satisfaction from their husbands, and the unfortunate moment they go out to do it is a day they bring in a stranger of a child. So you, the man who have been having sexual intercourse with your wife, it becomes very difficult for you to detect if the child is yours or not. Now, but when the child grows to a certain level, probably a sickness can come along the line. When they go to the hospital now to run the check now, they will realize the blood of the child with yours is not compatible. That's when now they start making detailed findings. But there are cases whereby people have lived like that, and they have lived their life and ended without anybody knowing. There are also situations whereby the man knows he's impotent and forcefully pushes his wife out to go and bring a child for him to father a child.
Yes.
Those things are very common in our society today. It becomes very, very bad and critical when a man finds out tomorrow that the 3 children that he has been fathering for many years or taking care of are not his biological children. Most people end up with stroke, some heart failure, some even die at the spot because it becomes unbearable for you to sit and watch that. You dowry a woman, then she goes out and brings children. I had a case of a certain woman who, the husband was impotent and never told the woman that she was impotent. Now the woman went out and then became pregnant. The man was wondering if he was the one that impregnated the man because he kept a secret. Yes. So the woman too brought a child in the house and he could not disclose it because he too had kept a secret for many years. So he accepted the children, took the children and grew up the children, and the children remained his children. He never mentioned it till tomorrow. So it now depends on how the situation occurs because there are persons who can contain it and there are others who cannot contain it at all.
Yeah. The emotional intelligence. That's true.
So, if a woman were to get pregnant from outside, it's better to tell the husband now that by mistake something happened.
That's a very, very serious situation. A crime cannot give birth to another crime. We already have adultery on ground. Don't cause murder. So that's the truth.
So you are saying that
if a woman
should keep it secret.
If the woman finds out that by cheating on the husband she becomes pregnant, I will not in any way as a man of God advise her to disclose it. That's wisdom. It's not like covering sin. Is wisdom.
Is that not a sin?
That's what I'm telling you. It's covering. That's wisdom. Because
why not repent?
And restitute and confess.
You don't need to tell the man. You can confide in a spiritual authority that this is the mess you find yourself into. The man now with the spiritual authority should be the one to approach your husband. You may go at the spur of the moment and he kills you.
Yes.
That's wisdom.
Something dangerous can happen. It can be
happening.
That's
the reason why we have priests and pastors where you can go to and confide your secrets to. Then they know how to navigate the information.
Because
to
sometimes
your
there's a spontaneous
because
response can be
sometimes there can
deadly.
be a spontaneous response from your husband,
Yes.
and then you add a crime to another crime. There is a corpse on the ground with a pregnancy added to it. So it's important we know how to manage such crises, because the Bible says, he that covereth the sin shall not prosper, but whoever confesses them and forsake them shall have mercy. They did not tell you who to confess it to.
There's also something where you are living with your husband, thinking that the children are only, you have 4 children, kids with this guy.
The man has 6 outside.
And when the guy is sick in the hospital, do you see?
Some people come with the same ashwabi.
No, not even when they are dead. I'm talking about deadly secret. When they see that the guy is sick, you find sons and daughters coming from
nowhere. Well, that's also common in the society today.
Okay,
it's very common. Well, when we say it's common, is because we are confronting them every day.
Okay,
we are seeing them every day. We are meeting them every day. We are talking to them every day. And some women, when they discover it, they just be angry. So you be tell me. That day pass, 2 days pass, 1 week pass. Then they not embrace. My woman get picking them for outside. Probably no day and those kind of a thing. And most at times it is usually the men that will have that. It's usually the men. Now I want to do, because we are also giving or talking about these things and also giving solutions.
Yes.
Now, if you know that you are a cheat, you go out and maybe you commit adultery or whatever, please take preservatives. Protect yourself from some of those things, because eventualities. Yes, when I say preservatives, because of what? If you know you have slept with a man and you know he has put his sperm on you, anything can happen. So what do? You clean up yourself before you go home. Because of what? Why do you keep, when I say preservatives,
you go home to meet your husband.
No, don't complain. These are the simple things that are happening today. Even if you are married with your husband at home, there are some times where you were not ready for childbirth, and then you sleep with the wife, and because of that time when the church they say leave and we'll go born. Not be adultery. We're not talking about legalizing adultery. You don't talk about cover the pikin wey go get about the adultery. Now you talk about cover and that's adultery. No, I am saying that if at all you find yourself in that situation, one, they will tell you.
But preservative, it also helps against sexually transmissible.
Those things, protect yourself.
Yes, it's true.
Protect yourself
from the child. Yeah.
Yes, protect yourself so that you don't carry unwanted problems to your home. Because normally some of these men push these women, and some of these women also push some men, because a woman will just get up, don't touch me, or she becomes very inactive and becomes very, very repulsive. What happens? These people go out there, and it's very, very common. We're in a society where people don't fear God anymore. Even in the church, people don't fear God. So what happens is that people should take precautions in order not to find themselves into some troubles that will happen. Yes, a girl can just get up and start telling you that she's pregnant.
Okay, and okay, let me take this message. Please, apart from health issues, if you got married to a man you met in church, knowing that he's a Christian, out of a sudden you notice that the man is a perpetual drunk and smoke cigarettes, and out of that you don't longer have feelings for him, no love also, this man can bear children, and the advice from the hospital is that stop smoking and drinking, and can't stop. If you are the woman, what will you do? After 4 years of marriage and the man can't stop drinking and smoking, and you guys don't have a child, what will you do as the woman? Mercy is writing from Douala. Can you answer her? Well, let me finish. And in case that the man demand for the woman's salary, how do we address that? This has come like that because the man got married to that woman because the woman was a working class. Okay, not true love there. Mr. Liu, I'm happy for a topic such is Plan B a good thing in a marriage? Okay, we are going to be discussing that. Mr. Liu, good evening. I'm Manga Bell from Manjo. Mr. Liu, who has the right to collect this bride price? The father or the person responsible for the girl? Good evening, Mr. Liu. I want to ask this question to Pastor Ambe. If you get married to a man and you discover that anytime he wants to make love with you, he must take some drugs, you finally discover that something is wrong, you go see a gynecologist, he writes some tests for both of you, and the husband refuses to do the test. How do someone call this behavior? There is no law that says a woman will have half of the husband's property. At best, at common law, there is the 1/3 rule. That means if the court finds it necessary to split the property of the marriage, the wife takes 1/3 and the husband takes 2/3, because it is considered that the man may get remarried and takes care of his new wife, and the wife may be married to another man who will take care of her. Okay? Yes. Can you answer to our sister?
Yes. Her concern is the man.
She met the man in church.
Yes.
And she did not know, but discovered that the man is a perpetual drunk and
also very common. He said it.
Yes. Yeah, I would like to use the words of Apostle Alfred. Apostle Alfred. It's very common. And I want to say this.
You come in church.
Yes, yes. The truth there is that many people piggyback or hijack our rules or our customs in church and use it even against our sisters. Yes. Many people use the things we have set up. That's why at the end of the day, we are saying that these things, though we do it for the good of the people should be always be above those laws. Because the truth there is, at some level, I've seen, this is a practical situation. I want to really say this in 1 minute. I was in church. I grew up. I know of a man who came and they told this lady, please, we are not very certain about this man. Can you hold on? The man was committed for a year, as in a prayer meeting in the morning, everything for a year. They begged. So spiritual leader who suffer, they say, Mama, I don't know, this man looks good, but I have a sense, there is something I perceive there is something. This woman refused. Now after 1 year 6 months, he married. This is a true life story. Now for first 3 months, this man stopped coming to church and come and drop her in church. By 6 months, the man refused that she will not even go to church again. By 1 year, the man, that's when they knew that the man is a heavy smoker. The man was a scammer. That means literally he was doing a lot of shady businesses behind. They beat the woman until every time she's literally leaving the pastor's house. That means she will run back, they will take her there. Now, if it becomes a risk on your life, I would advise you to stay. But I mean to walk away. We have already made it very clear that anytime your life is at risk, because when we talk about these diseases, yes, you must not die because you marry somebody. That's why even these diseases we are very careful. But even sometimes, if it's just about children and somebody is willing to stay with their man, fine. This one is talking about smoking, drinking. If that drinking
and seemingly cannot impregnate,
yes,
and
good,
and the doctor says you should stop
smoking and drinking, and the man cannot stop. So if you see here that this thing is if you're placing priority on that children and everything, you see that it's not. I think we should relook it. We should come back to the drawing board. If your lives are, for example, if that drunken, because somebody who is drunk can beat you, can do a lot of funny things. So if you see that it is of danger, we have to look at it. But we cannot just be saying that just because somebody is drinking and getting drunk, you should just divorce. We cannot just sanction on air that, because like we said, people have weaknesses, and people do change.
Yes. What would you say in this case?
I would like to first of all react to the issue where a woman would have children and both ways. I would like us to trace the root cause of these issues. Why will a woman find it comfortable to have a child with another man apart from her husband? Let us be very real here. Women, you know, the way they were made, they enjoy sex. You know, they like this sexual satisfaction. It is their build. Really? Now, the only problem or cause here is that the man's ability to satisfy her is not there. Now, I believe we can solve these things. It will depend on how this man presented himself to this woman when they were meeting. If you know, I don't know how people, the yardstick for am I sexually active for this, how, if you know the man, that you have issues with, you know, sexual bedmatics, tell this woman from the onset when you meet her. Mama, look, I have issues like this. That is the way I see it. Mama, look, it's like this. This woman, if she loves you, both of you can go now for some help to a man of God, to some hospital. It is treatable. They can arrange those things. Work on that. That's the thing. It's both ways. And then another issue I see here is that another root cause. I personally, I don't know about science or whatsoever thing. I've noticed that the human being, when he or she falls in love, after 6 months, or the day the woman tells the man that I love you too, the clock starts ticking. The love dies down. 100%, 99 is going. After 6 months, Apostle mentioned something about 6 months here. The love goes to 0. Intelligent women or men, what they do is, during this period of the relationship, you identify what you have seen that this man loves or this woman loves. When the clock has died down to 0, when it is 6 months, let's say that man is somebody who loves cars, buy him a car. You generate that love to 100%. If the woman is somebody who loves maybe all this, I don't want to talk about Brazilian hair because it's something I don't like talking about. Do this thing for her. If the man loves sex, give him sex, all styles. The love will come back to that 100%. So I think the root causes for a man going for another spouse, you know, sexual weakness, and then that natural stuff of love dying, which you should be able to bring back.
Okay. Unfortunately, we will have to end the program at this juncture. We take another rendezvous to discuss another relationship or marriage topic next Tuesday. Apostle Ambe, thank you for coming.
Thank you, Mr. Leo. Thank you, viewers of Prime Hour. It's always a privilege to be here. To conclude, I want to say being sexually active is different from being sexually romantic. There are people who are sexually strong, but they cannot meet a woman's desire because they don't know what to strike to cause the woman to enter cloud 10 and bring her back to cloud 2.
Okay.
So you can go to the hospital and take all the drugs. You can make love very well, but you cannot meet a woman's desire.
Okay. Thank you for coming too.
Thank you very much, Mr. Leo. It was a wonderful time, and I want to believe that you're blessed out there. And if you still have questions, please, you can contact us, and we'll be able to help you at a closer range.
Okay. To you, Apostle Lefor, thank you for coming.
Thank you. It's a shameful thing for a parent to live all their lives waiting to target the in-laws or the person coming for their daughter and plan them. Raise up children who will bring value, and you will not be disappointed. I want to say it has been a wonderful time, and if you need any of my books, like the book we're talking about, Feeling Unappreciated, please contact Mr. Leo, any of our books or any of my tapes or my lessons on how to profile the man you are dating, which is very important as we're talking about. Please contact Mr. Leo, and they will give you my number, and you will have such. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you too for coming for the first time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Leo. I just want to send a message to all the ladies out there. There is this issue. You hear a woman talk something like, man of God, you will go to her man of God. I want you to check if this man is the man that God has, kept for me to marry. Please, sisters, listen carefully. God will never choose a man for a woman. God will never choose, a woman for a man. Why do I say this? God made Eve and presented to Adam and gave them some gifts, the garden. And when Eve had made some errors and they disobeyed God, God was calling Adam, where are you? Not even what have you done? They blamed him. The woman you gave me. God is too big. You don't blame God. So now God allows you to choose that man. Let's take, for example, I tell a sister that
we're out of time.
Okay.
Yeah, we're out of time. The sisters, I hope you got the message. Tomorrow we are going to give opportunity to the nurses to tell us their story. We are going to be receiving nurses on this platform tomorrow, so that they should tell us how they're enjoying their profession and what challenges they are facing. We want to thank you all who took time off to watch the program, and to you, Desmond and Eli, for producing the program, and Noel and Bertrand, and to you, Tambe Bryant, who is supervising the work we do out there. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.